to allow yourself to have joy, right? To just go and, like, this winter I was making snow angels. Like, why not, right? I used to do that when I was a kid. You just look up at the sky, love to look at the clouds and just be yourself, right? You want to make snow angels, go do that. You want to do cartwheels.
Yeah,
just get back to not worrying about what it's going to look like or what other people think about you.
There are times when life just brings you down, 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 down to the ground. And it's hard when you can't see the light, 'cause things don't look so bright. So now it's time to reframe and retrain your brain. It's time to look for the good. You know that you should. Why don't you join me? I'm seeking sunshine, I'm seeking sunshine, I'm seeking sunshine. Oh, oh, oh. I'm seeking sunshine, I'm seeking sunshine, I'm seeking sunshine, I'm seeking sunshine.
I'm Karaleigh Garrison, a motivational speaker, singer, and songwriter, and your host of the Seeking Sunshine podcast, where we find the positive in the trials of life. This show is all about flipping the script on the way that we see the world around us and what's happening to us. It's about getting rid of the negative mindset that we have been embracing for so long and finding the beauty in everything around us, even as our world seems to be crumbling. It's about finding our power and taking it back. Our power lies in our perspective. When you change your perspective, you gain control. When you choose to see the cup as half full instead of half empty, you can change your entire reality. Find the sunshine. I promise you it's there, and I'm here to hold your hand and help you find it. Welcome to Seeking Sunshine. Welcome back to the Seeking Sunshine podcast, and thank you so much for joining me today. You know that I love it when you guys come listen to my show. It makes me so happy to know that you guys are here and supporting me, and I hope that this show helps you. I hope that it helps you to change your mindset, and I hope that it helps you learn how to be happier, because that's the whole point, isn't it? This show is here to help you learn how to transform your mind to a more positive place, to help you learn how to shift to a more sunshiny demeanor, right? Anyways, this week we are back to school and we are partying and we are so happy. And at the same time, I feel like I had this big realization, and maybe you're not back in school yet, and maybe you are not also having this realization, but I am. So I'm going to share it with you. I feel like I waited all summer for school to start because I was like, just wait, everything's gonna be better. When school starts, I was like, these kids, they're taking all of my energy over the summer. And when school starts, they're gonna be gone and it's gonna be glorious. And then school started. And mind you, we're like 4 days into the school year. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I forgot how draining it is to get up at, excuse my language, the butt crack of dawn to get my dang kids off to school on time. And I forgot how draining it is to get my kids out the door to school. And now, please don't get me wrong. I'm like so grateful for school, and we have a great schedule, even though my son's bus gets to my front door at 6:45 in the morning. Yes, you heard that right. 6:45 in the morning, my son's bus arrives. That's insanity. Anyways, not the point here. I'm just saying that, like, don't wait for something to change to be happy. That's literally the whole point of this podcast. Don't wait for something to change to be happy. Be happy now. Be happy now. And actually, I think that's the title of this episode, is How to Be Happy Starting Today. I'm going to tell you right now, be happy starting today. Don't wait for something to change. Choose it now, because that thing that you're waiting for is probably not going to be all that it's cracked up to be. Find something to be grateful for in the now, because this is, I'm sitting here like trying to teach you guys things and then realizing how very much I still have to learn every single day. I have so much to learn. So this is like, let me teach you as I still am learning so very much myself. Come along with me as I learn, because I so very much am working on this every single day, right along with you. I am practicing seeking sunshine every moment of every day, and I hope that is evident, because that's me. So anyways, today we have a really great guest. I'm so excited to share this episode with you. Her story is so interesting, so compelling, and I really, really enjoyed listening to her story. Today we have Treena Chabot. She is the happiness quarterback. She's so cool. She's so amazing. Treena, she did what she thought she was supposed to in life. Didn't we all? I mean, I did that. Like, got married, had kids, but it didn't feel the way that it was supposed to feel. She had a career, a kid, or kids, house, and a spouse, but it didn't make her happy. And in her darkest hours, she decided not to end her life, even though she felt stuck and empty. And almost by accident, she realized that it was up to her to change her future and give herself what was missing. She had to turn inward and reconnect to the true self that had been buried over the years. She grew in important ways and is now a supportive and insightful teacher for others in their life journey. She's an incredible coach. She's an awesome storyteller. I loved chatting with her. And I think that you are going to learn so much from hearing her and listening to this story. I learned and grew so much from her, and I love listening to her. So without any further ado, here is Treena Chabot. Hi, Treena. I'm so excited to have you today on the Seeking Sunshine podcast.
Hi, Karaleigh. I'm excited to be here. I love your song for your Seeking Sunshine podcast, I have to tell you.
Oh, awesome.
And I wanted to also wish you luck with your album that you said was coming out soon.
Thank you. Yeah, I just got another song back and I'm obsessed. I'm so excited.
Oh, that's awesome.
So yeah, I want to hear about you. I want to hear how you became the happiness quarterback and how all that developed. So let's hear your story.
Yes, thank you. It's been quite the journey. So I guess we'll just start with, I did all the things in life like a lot of us do. We get the house and the spouse and the kids and the job, all the things. And, I felt successful. I felt that I had done it all. I was a community college instructor, the 2 kids, and the timing where I'm jumping in at the story, they were just getting to be teenagers. I had been married for almost 16 years, I guess, at that time, and had lived in some different places, but we had the property out in the country, and everyone was saying like, wow, look at you guys go, you've done it all. And it felt really good. And I was proud of myself. I felt like a valuable, worthy human being. And it was good until it wasn't. And then all of a sudden, I guess it just happens gradually, but then you just hit a breaking point. So I can remember it was May 2009. So where we're jumping in at the story. And we had this extra bedroom in our basement, a little yellow room, nice little place to go and hide from everyone. And I'm sitting on the bed and I'm crying. And my husband at the time, he comes in the room and he says, "What's going on?" And I said, "I feel like driving in front of a truck." And he says, well, no, don't do that. And I said, "I think I need a divorce." And he says, no, things will get better. Don't do that. So we bought a new sofa and we wallpapered the kitchen. And about 9 months later, February 2010, it wasn't better. So I was back in that same bedroom at the time. And I guess like looking back, we didn't do anything different. So how's anything going to get better, right? Like it's not going to come from wallpaper and things. So I'm back in that bedroom, lying there on the bed crying. And my thoughts turned to the people I was going to leave behind when I killed myself, if I killed myself. So I was thinking about my kids, and they were 11 and 14 at the time. And I said, well, they're strong. They'll be okay eventually. No. And then it's like a slap in the face. No, they won't be okay. How could they ever be okay after something like that? So I was empty, unfulfilled, depressed, and stuck. And I didn't know what to do about it. And I thought I didn't really have a choice. So if I couldn't end my life, I didn't see any other option. So I was at work the following day, and my coworker, who normally sits diagonal behind me, we were on a coffee break just coincidentally at the same time. And all of a sudden he's standing beside me because I can't hold back my emotions anymore. I'm upset visibly at work. I don't know what to do. And so I told him what's going on. And I said, I just don't have a choice. I can't hurt my husband. I can't hurt my children. Like, there's nothing that I can do. And so he said that he had felt like that about 10 years before that. And he went through a divorce, and he said that it was the most difficult thing that he ever had to do, but he got through it. And he said that I would too. So I believed him, and I thought, well, I guess I do have a choice. The choice is ugly, but I do have a choice. And with that, I had a decision to make. So I let it sit for a couple of days, and it was Valentine's Day weekend.
Well, of course it was.
Because you start thinking of stuff like that,
Right.
right? Yeah, so Valentine's Day is coming up, and you're like, I'm not in love with this person. So he brings me chocolates, he brings me wine and flowers, like everything. And why did he do it that year and not all of the other years? Like, he honestly knew something was wrong. And maybe that's what it'll get better meant, is that, I'll buy you flowers once a year. That'll make it better. So anyway,
Yay.
yeah, so it was the day after Valentine's Day. And it's that day in particular is the biggest breakup day of the year, if you can imagine. And I didn't know at the time, but my brother, who was miles away in France, broke up with his wife on the exact same day. And
Wow.
neither one of us knew that until months later when we were talking about it. We left our spouses on the same day of the same year, not even knowing that either one of us was in trouble that way. So that is crazy in itself. So anyway, day after Valentine's Day, I'm standing in the kitchen looking at my new wallpaper, looking out the door this way. There's my yard is back there. Like, it's a beautiful property. Why is this not making me happy? Right? Why is the nice kitchen not making me happy? There's the things that I got for Valentine's Day sitting there. They're not making me happy. And I know that my husband at the time is sitting on the new couch in the room just around the wall. And that didn't make me happy either. So I'm standing there thinking like I have to do it. And it's like a voice inside me, and it's pushing me, and I'm kind of rocking, and I'm just like, you have to do it. You have to do it. You have to do it. And it's almost like it just shoved me into the next room. And I went in there and I just said to him, I can't be married anymore. And he said, I know. So that was the beginning.
Oh man. I know, and I'm like, I'm totally one that just like jumps in and comments, but like, what do you? Oh, it's just heartbreaking. It's
It is.
heartbreaking to feel stuck like that. Like you
Yeah.
don't have a choice, and really, it's true that we all have a choice, but sometimes those choices have really horrific consequences, and it's, what do? You have to do something.
And it is heartbreaking, because how do you get to a point like that when you marry your best friend, right? And 16 years later, you hate him so much. Like, it's ridiculous, right? How life goes like that. So, that was the hardest thing. Probably just that day, saying that, being able to do that was my most difficult time. And then, of course, like, dealing with their emotions. So the kids, and explaining it to them, and then helping him through it, because somehow this was a surprise to him, even though I had felt like this for probably 10 years before, that it just wasn't working. Something wasn't going right. And he didn't want to accept it, and he's trying to save it and everything else. So I went for a counseling session with him, And at the end of that session, the therapist says, or the counselor says, well, I can't counsel you as a couple when one of you doesn't want to be here. And I'm like, I really don't want to be here. So she says, well, what I can suggest is that you each get individual counseling, and then we'll see where we're at from there. So I went back for an individual session, and I was explaining to her how I felt. I'm like I just don't want to be here. I want to escape. Right. And so when you look at that fight flight, I look at it now and I'm like, that was my flight response. Like I needed to get out of there one way or the other. If it was in a box, I didn't care. I just had to go. And so I said, like, what I would really like to do is just work where I had to travel and I could be away from home and go just do all these things. And I didn't have to be at home looking after everyone. And her response to me was, well, that's not what your children need right now. And I'm like, so it doesn't matter what I need? And so I pretty much just kind of ended the session. I think the session was maybe ending, but she suggested like doing some journaling and stuff. So
Oh, yay.
that advice. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, go journal now.
Yeah.
Go journal. Well, and I want to tell you here, like I'm a self-care coach for burnt out moms because I totally get that feeling. I have 3 special needs kids. And, you know, we're taught as mothers that like, okay, now that you're a mom, that's it. Your entire life now revolves around what they need, and what you need just gets thrown out the window. And we have to find a way to do both, or we're not going to make it as moms.
Yeah.
It's just, you know, it's like we can't survive like that. It's not healthy, it's not okay, and it's really the opposite of self-care and self-worth, because when you know your value, you know that your passions and dreams also matter.
Yeah. And so you're trying to please everyone else, trying to make everyone happy. And in the meantime, you don't realize that your happiness is spiraling away from you. So like, it's interesting you say that in terms of, you know, being a mother of special needs kids. And I was a teacher, and my clients are nurses and social workers and all of those caregivers. Like it just catches up with you, right? If you're not, like you say, doing the self-care and the right self-care, not bubble baths and toenail
Exactly. Exactly.
like
you're
you can do that too, but you've got to do the inside work.
Yeah, no, you're spot on. That's what I teach, is like, how
Yeah.
do you do self-care that actually makes an impact? And it starts with self-worth,
Yeah.
right? And it includes pursuing your passions, and like it's not
Yeah.
it's not trying to find somebody else to take your place for an hour, because that's going to fix you.
Right. And so therapy didn't work for me. Counseling didn't work for me, obviously. But she gave me some exercises to do. So I was able to just pour out like, how am I feeling? What's going on? And so I did that. And then it turned to like, what do you really want in your life? And so that's a great thing to think about, right? What do you really want in your life? That's very positive, looking forward kind of stuff. So sunshine sort of stuff that you talk about. And then it went on to, and I had gone from saying, I'm never getting married again, I don't want to be in a relationship, to, as I'm journaling and saying, what do I really want? It's like, I do want a partner. I loved being a wife and being married and having the family. And it's like, it didn't work out, but it's something I still wanted. So I was saying like, well, if I were to get into a new relationship, what would that look like? And so I wrote down 5 things. And, you know, things like I need him to take me seriously, and I want to have humor in the relationship, and some surprises and different things like that. And so then, so I kind of tucked that away. And then,
It wasn't like tall, dark, and handsome.
no, there was nothing about physical appearance.
Like some
right?
people go and they write this list, right, of like, what do I want? And it's all like, well, blue eyes are just a must. And it's like, is it really? It's not really what's important, because it's actually not, you know?
No,
So I love that your list.
Intelligence was on the list. I needed
Right.
someone I could have deep conversations with.
So I love that your list was like, yeah, deeper qualities than just the surface level stuff that so often ends up on those lists.
Yes. I know some women have ideas about certain physical attributes they want in partners, and that's not the important stuff in my mind. Yeah. So then another like sunshine thing would have been that I reached out to friends when I was going through that. It's like, I need time with my girls, right? I need to just vent. And, you know, your friends love you unconditionally. They're not going to judge and all that stuff. So sometime after I had made that list, not long after, we went out. We went out to exotic bingo, where you win fun prizes. And then after that, we went to a local bar, I guess it was. And while we were sitting there, I said, "Do either of you know any single guys?" So I had gone like in 6 weeks from I'm never getting married again, I'm getting out of this relationship, to I need someone in my life. And okay, I'm sure I could be fine on my own, but that's not what I want, right? I want someone. So my friend said, she says, "Yeah, actually I do." And so she called him up and said, "Here we are, come and see us." And so he came into the bar, and I'm just like, he had blue eyes. But I just felt an instant connection. Like, he's a gift for me. I felt that in my heart, that this is a gift for me. And I didn't know why he was a gift at the time, but I sure learned. And so he had all the qualities, he was a gift, so he's a keeper, right? So I was in love. He tells people he thought I was weird. I'm telling people I'm in love. So we eventually got on the same page, but that was fine. So we always have to look back at our stories and say, like, what is the biggest lesson that you've learned, right? And what does that say about you and the work that you can be doing? So that hadn't happened yet, but I guess maybe the honeymoon was wearing off a little bit, and now I'm starting to judge him, right? I'm watching him with his friends, and he's telling stupid jokes, and he's being inappropriate, and I'm just like, oh, why does he have to say that? Why does he have to do that? That's so embarrassing. So I'm just like, this is starting to feel like the old marriage. The relationship is feeling the same. And I'm like, are all men just the same? And I didn't want them to be, because I really liked him and I could see a future for us because he had all the things on the list. And I just got talking to myself like, okay, so he's different in this way, and he doesn't do this. No, men are not all the same. Like, he's different. So it's not that. But if it's not that, then what is it? Oh, it's me.
There's a
I'm
common denominator here.
I'm the common denominator. So that was my biggest epiphany in life. It wasn't that I had a choice. It was that I am the common denominator in my problems. And when I left that marriage, I gave him a list of 25 things that he did or did not do that caused the divorce. But I could have done any one of those. I was putting all the blame on him instead of taking personal responsibility. So now that I'm seeing I'm the common denominator, it's like, okay, I need to watch myself and what I'm doing that is causing me to feel bad about myself or bad about other people. It was mostly about other people. Like, my colleagues weren't working hard enough, and my kids weren't making me feel fulfilled, and spending too much time with their friends, right? And I'm in an unhappy marriage. So I had to see the role I was playing in all that.
Yeah, there's a lot of making me feel.
Yeah. So that was the biggest thing. And so then later on, I left my teaching job because we stayed in this new relationship. We bought a house in a different city, and I like to leave my job and go to that city and, go back and forth, but I can't if I'm working all the time. So I started my own training company. And then I found out that I really didn't like human resources anymore, and really, and management theory doesn't just do it for me like it used to. So there was something else. There was a bigger purpose for my life. And that's what it all went back to, right? Not
Yeah,
only,
so when you were
so
making your list
yeah,
of like what I really want with my life,
yeah.
you were missing the thing that lights you up.
I was missing, like, there was an emptiness in me. So it wasn't that I guess that's part of it, but what I was really missing was um like a sense of self, like connection to my soul. I was missing feeling that I was important no matter what. I didn't have to do all these things to be important. I came to earth for a purpose, for a reason, and there's enough in that to make me feel like a valuable human being. And any contribution that I can make to people is what fills me up, right? It's service of other people that is going to help me to be happy with myself and to feel full. So I think a lot of people I talk to have that emptiness feeling, and it's just disconnection from yourself. You don't even know who you are anymore because you've been so busy playing the game and catering to everyone else and showing your worth that you don't know what you want or what you're supposed to be doing. And like self-love is a big part of that too, right?
Yeah, I was gonna say that all of those things like come down to self-care, like
Yeah.
like relearning who you are after, it's sort of like we spend all of our youth figuring out who we are, right? In high school, what do you like? What do you want to do? We go to college, what do you want to major in? What do you want to do? What do you want? What do you want? Then you get
Yeah.
married or get a job, and that like fades. Like as you have kids, as you get into a career path, like it doesn't even have to involve kids, but you start like going down this path of, yeah, what you want doesn't matter anymore. And it's bigger and bigger and bigger. And then we hit this point in our like 30s and 40s where we're like, who am I?
Yeah.
What happened to me? Me
Yeah.
disappeared somewhere along the way. And to me, that's what self-care is all about. It's like, who are you? Do you know your value?
Yeah.
Do you care for this human that's here, you know?
Exactly. So what it is suffering from the human condition. So we're born these beautiful souls, curious, we've come to achieve our purpose. And then our parents teach us about the world, how to navigate it, how to think for ourselves, and we explore. And then we get maybe a little too big for our britches, and some adult tears us down at around age 9. Like, who do you think you are? You're a show off, and I had that happen to me, which affects you in life, right? It creates emotional triggers and stuff. So then you go from that to like, oh, that doesn't feel very good. But I don't want to play the game. I don't want to grow up and get a job. I want to do what I want to do. And so you start to rebel as a teenager, right? And you cut class and do whatever you want to do, except what you're supposed to be doing. But that's difficult because you get in trouble with the law, or your parents find out other ways, or whatever it is. So now it's like, oh, doing what I want to do isn't going to get me very far in life. So I need to get with the program. I need to do well in school, choose a career, get a good job, buy the car, buy the house, have the family, have the kids, all the things, because that's what society is telling me to do and telling me
That's
going to
the
make me happy.
prescribed, right? That's the prescribed path
It's
for
the human
life.
condition.
I think it's interesting that we don't really call it like the path to happiness.
Yeah.
We don't call that, we just call it the path. Like that's just what you're supposed to do. That's
Yeah.
just it.
But it's the pursuit of happiness, people say. So you think it's going to lead to happiness. And it does, like you say, it for a little while. And then it wears off and you want the next thing and the next thing, or you feel that you need to do more and more to prove your worth again before people forget about you, or whatever the case is, right? So by that time, you've gone so far away from your soul and your purpose for coming to earth that you have a breakdown of some sort, because you say, I don't want to do this anymore, right? I don't even know who I am, all of those things. And then that leads you to one of two things. It'll lead you to blow up your life and not learn your lessons and keep making the same mistakes over and over again, right? So the work I do with happiness, a lot of the people I work with are having trouble in that second relationship. They have a divorce, they've blown up their life, and they're doing it all over again, and they don't know what to do about it, right? So they need to do that inner work. So, you can blow it up and do that again, not learn your lessons, or you can turn inward, figure out what's happening, figure out, how to heal yourself inside and how to better navigate the world. So, it's all about us. It's like projection, right? If someone says something about you, it says more about them than it does about you, right? And their standards and expectations and all those things. So we need to see that in ourselves, that whatever we think about what's going on around us is just about us.
Okay,
It's not
I have a
reality.
quote for you. I have
Okay.
a quote for this because it's one of my favorite topics. I talk about this all the time. I think I literally say this in every single episode. And I've said it in every single day of my workshop that I've been doing this week for self-care. This is my favorite quote. It comes
Okay.
from Frozen, like the kids movie. It comes from Frozen. People make bad choices when they're mad or scared or stressed.
Yeah.
People make bad choices when they're mad or scared or stressed. And we can take that outward and we can say they are making a bad choice because of their own limitations, because they're scared, because they're struggling with whatever they're struggling with. That's why they are acting the way they're acting. But when you look inside and you go, am I acting out of
Yeah.
fear? Am I acting out of stress? And sometimes that's, I haven't peed in 3 hours and I haven't been taking care of myself and, taking care of my needs, or I'm really hungry and now I'm acting, impatient with my kids, or like I haven't sat down all day. No wonder I'm cranky, right?
Yeah.
Like, as you do your own self check and you sit there and go, okay, why am I acting a way I don't want to act? Is it because I'm acting out of fear? Usually that's like a big one, but like fear or stress, or I'm mad or
Yeah.
scared or stressed, right? Like, how am
Judgment of
I?
others. Yeah.
So yeah, that's exactly
Yeah.
it.
And so if we haven't learned this in our lives, if our parents didn't know and couldn't teach it to us, then here we are, right? And we have to figure out what that means at our age, whatever age that is. And like I was around 38, I think, when all this happened. So 37, 38. So right in that sweet spot where I've had enough of this from all these years of doing this.
Guys, I just wanted to pause here for 1 second to let you know about the awesome thing that I'm doing right now. I'm so excited to announce that I'm offering a custom song experience for a small number of people. This is your chance to take your story, your podcast, or your business even, and turn it into a incredible, timeless work that will bring back beautiful, loving emotions for decades to come. This is such a perfect gift for your spouse, for a newborn baby, or for a parent, and it's a really great way to embody your business or your podcast's mission. We're going to meet together several times and deep dive into the message and emotion you want to convey to make sure that you're getting something that you absolutely adore. A custom song is an incredible asset for advertising, for lifting team spirit, and for encapsulating family memories. If you are interested in a custom song, please email customsongs@karaleigharrison.com.
And so then I went back to look at, what these things said about me, and I came up with 4 areas where I've made changes that have just really made such a difference in my life, right? Going from unhappy to happy, unfulfilled to fulfilled, no inner peace to inner peace, those kinds of things. So that's what I call my talk, is the inner game, 4 plays for winning at happiness. And so the first play is become a free agent. So this one deals with the way we all just want to get out of there and have freedom. I want to be able to do what I want to do when I want to do it. And we all feel that way, right? We want to quit our jobs and just have freedom. We want to just leave our families and go be free, whatever it is. And so I wonder, if that's what I was feeling at the time, I just need to be free of this. That's not what freedom is. I needed to be free of the things going on in here, right? I needed to be free of that voice that was, telling me what I should do, or that those emotions that I was pushing down. So when you get to a point where you're depressed and, talking silly like I was, it's because I had never handled my emotions. Just stuff them down, keep a brave face on, right? Don't let your kids see that you're unhappy. Be happy for them so they have a good day. All that stuff, it's going to start spilling out eventually, right? And all of those negative emotions will make a person depressed. And chemical depression is a different thing, but you can still be depressed this way. And my whole life wasn't horrible. I still had some friends and I was doing well at work, so I knew that I wasn't completely depressed. It was just kind of situational. So yeah, so just looking at what else was I going to say about freedom? Um, well, it was an interesting thing. I went kind of in my healing, and this is coming up later, but play 3 is about spirituality, but I wanted to try meditation, get more spiritual. Didn't have a clue what spirituality was. So I went for meditation 3 times. The third time it actually worked because I was comfortable and I didn't kind of snap out of it for some reason. So she had us sitting for 15 minutes and then said I could lie down for 15 minutes just so I wouldn't get uncomfortable. And then at the end of like, I guess it was about 25 minutes in, she says, okay, everyone came here for a reason today. I want you to go there now and figure out the answer to that question. And I said, okay, well, the reason I came was just that I wanted to know what it felt like to meditate. And all of a sudden, I could feel my brain kind of split in two. So it was like I was observing myself in my brain and all of my thoughts and everything separated. And I'm like, oh, I have needed freedom from myself, freedom from all that stuff. Like it was just so clear to me how that felt. So when people think they need to be free, think about what's going on in them that they feel they need to be free of. So that was a very important lesson. And and there's lots of ways to do work on that. And when I tell people about building a happiness practice, you've got to try things, right? Maybe meditation doesn't work. Maybe you want to go walk out in nature instead. Whatever it is, find what works for you and find something that you're going to stick with for your self-care in all of those areas.
I think that one is really similar to my one that I teach about inner wholeness, finding your inner wholeness, which is so similar to that freedom of just like knowing who you are, knowing where you stand, and trusting yourself in every way.
Yeah. So that one is more of my spirituality part, but that's just the way I broke it down. But it includes
no worries. Yeah, great.
Yeah. So play 2 is for winning at happiness is be in it to win it. So this means that we've got to change and grow. So as a teacher, I was always a lifelong learner. I like to know things and share that with my students so that they can be smart when they go start their job and say that they learned it from me, right? Getting all the credit and stuff. But learning isn't enough. We have to apply things. And we've got to stretch ourselves out of our comfort zones to grow as a person. And when I was doing my healing and that inner journey, I did a lot of reading of self-help books. And in one of them, it said, I don't remember which one, but it said, the meaning of life is to grow and serve others using your skills and knowledge. And I'm like, I like that. I can grab onto that and go with that. So the growth part is, how do we come back from having these experiences so we don't have to repeat the same patterns, right? What do I have to learn about myself? But growth is difficult because we don't want to admit that we're not perfect or we don't want feedback from other people.
There's an interesting duality that comes with growth. You have to equally know that you are incredible as you are. You're amazing just as you are right now. Like you're so worthy. You're so like valuable just as you are right now. But also you need to grow. You need to continue that upward trajectory to learn and grow and improve, right? We still have so much more potential even as we are amazing, right?
Yeah, well, and you would think it would be unlimited potential as you grow and grow, right? And when you're reading about purpose and what is your life purpose, like it's not a destination. It's the path that you're on, and everything that happens to you and everything you learn and all the people that have something to teach you that you need to impact the world the way you're supposed to impact the world. And so I'm a happiness quarterback now, but 20 years from now, who knows, right? It might be something completely different. Well, but all this taking me in that direction.
Yeah, we forget that like it can't be a destination because any time that you stay in the same place, you feel stuck. Even if it's a really, really great place, if you're staying in the same spot, you start feeling stuck again because you're not moving. It's moving that makes us happy. It's that progression, right? It's not the staying in the one happy spot. It's the moving. So
And for me, when I was stuck and I needed to move, I needed to grow. I needed to push myself out of my comfort zone, do something different, figure out some new things, meet some new friends, like whatever it was. I couldn't go to that next level without developing somehow. And I think a lot of people can't get unstuck because they don't grow. They don't look to see how, like, what would be possible and what they have to do differently. Or maybe they know what they have to do differently, but they're not ready to commit to it.
well, and a lot of people think they can't grow. They're not
Yeah.
worth it. They lack the self-esteem to think that they have the capability for it. Yeah, there's a lot of reasons why people don't grow.
No time, too busy, like all kinds of
It's
things.
impossible. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but I think, like, if you're, I don't know if it's about paying attention or what, but I guess when it is time to grow, kind of like when I was talking about my kids that day and what was going to happen, um, like it's pushing you so hard that you have to do something, right? Like I had to get that divorce so that I can have the experience with the next guy to know that I had to grow as a person. And it's like you can't ignore it. It's just shoving you in that direction. So I guess if people aren't ready, like they'll eventually be ready, but then they have to know that when they feel that, it's time to grow, right? And it's time to do that inner work and not wait for someone else to come and save them, right? Don't blow up your life, but turn inward instead. And I guess like just connecting to your soul, like you said, and seeing that you're valuable, you're worthy, you're here for a reason. Like that's a great place to start if you can just brainwash yourself that, right? Like even if you don't believe it, just adopt that belief and brainwash yourself. And that's a great belief to have, I
Yeah.
feel.
And there's tools to help us get there that are,
Yeah.
true. I feel like brainwashing kind of has a connotation of like, this is fake, you're not really worth it. But how do we show ourselves that we're worth it? How do we convince ourselves? And a couple things, when we have babies, right? Newborn
Yeah.
babies, we don't look at them and go, all right, get a job, prove your worth in this world,
Yeah, you're
right?
not quite tall enough.
Yeah, your eyes aren't blue enough. Like, what have you done for me lately?
Yeah.
Newborns take and take and take and take and take. And yet
Yeah.
we look at them and see so much worth and so much value. And we have that same amount of value. Like, if newborns can have value without having produced anything or helped anybody or
Yeah.
done anything productive, then so can we.
So
And
it's
then
interesting, like as you're talking about newborns, I'm thinking of the universe and awe, right? So that's a great place to start to begin to feel some connection to something bigger than you,
yeah.
right? And because then it's more of a feeling than changing your mindset. But you look at a baby and it's just like, wow, this thing wasn't here yesterday. Isn't that amazing, right? Or you go
Mhm.
outside and you look at nature and you're like, that is amazing. And so
Yeah.
those experiences just kind of help you get out of your head. And
Yeah, absolutely.
and
Gratitude.
yeah, and if you can connect to those things, then you can start to connect to yourself more too.
Yeah, really. Well, and then the other thing of like, because I've been asking myself this question of how do you increase your self-worth? How do you actually do that? And I heard this analogy that really was amazing for me, and that was like somebody has you watch their dog or their plant for a week, right? And
Mhm.
not too long ago, we pet sat a 9-week-old husky, and it was totally a nightmare. Um, but so somebody has you watch their dog or watch their plant, and you have to care for this, right? You water the plant daily. You look at how beautiful the leaves are. You walk by it all the time, and you remember to water it. You take care of the dog. You clean it up when it poops all over your house, and you take it out for a walk, and you make sure it has enough food, water. Like you do things to care for it. And by the end of that week, when the person goes to take their dog or their plant back, you realize that you kind of miss it because you've grown to care for it. You've grown to love it as you have done the physical work
Yeah.
involved in caring for it. So then the question is, are you caring for yourself? so that you can grow to love yourself in the same way.
Yeah. So that's kind of like the word service comes to mind when your acts of service with the dog and with the plant or whatever. So that's like the meaning of life. You've got a purpose. And so that's how I look at it, is just like if we're all here for a reason, it's a very specific reason for us and our soul and what our soul wanted to come here to do. And it wasn't necessarily a motivational speaker, changing the lives of 10 million people. It's not necessarily an NFL quarterback or a movie star, but that's not my journey. This is my journey. And that makes me worthy because I have a journey, whatever that is. If my journey is to make sure a school is clean for children, right? So they have a nice learning environment and I'm a custodian, then that's my journey. And that's important work to do. So we can all just accept that we have a role to play. And that role isn't being someone's mom and being someone's wife or husband or those kinds of things. The role is to enact what our soul is here to do. And, that identity, I think, is more important. Just that I'm worthy, I'm here for a reason. And I'm going to figure out what that is. And even if I never figure out what that is, I can do my work in a meaningful way. I can impact lives in a meaningful way.
Yeah.
So that's all new since I learned spirituality. Like when I grew up, it was with religion, but that wasn't about having a relationship with a higher power. That was about these are the commandments, and this is what you're supposed to do, and you should feel bad and confess your sins and all those things. And that didn't really do anything for me, right? So I think young people need to start with a relationship. Everyone, right? If you don't have a relationship with something bigger than you, some kind of power, that's a great place to start. It really helped me.
Well, and it's really interesting. It's like religion was intended to help you have that relationship with a higher power, and it just kind of, in so many ways, it's been convoluted along the way, where it's just all these things you have to do and all these rules, and if you come at it from the right perspective, it can lead you to a better relationship, but so frequently it actually pushes you away or it does nothing. Right? And so that's what
I think it's
spirituality.
the different denominations have very different philosophies of it. So I'm sure some people grew up with religion and it was very positive and they still practice it and it's useful for them, right? But some of us,
But like spirituality is the basis
yeah,
of religion, because that's how important spirituality is.
yeah, exactly. Because if you don't see a meaning in your life beyond your, I don't know, buying a house or whatever, all those external things, if you don't feel like you are important to this world, then what have you got? Right? That's kind of a sad existence, I think. But
Yeah.
yeah, so that's where I was at. And just learning all these things has just been so valuable. So
Well, and it's
that's what I do
amazing
is,
that you use everything that you have, gone through and learned, and you're now turning around and helping other people with it.
well, and I feel that that's my purpose. So I've talked to other coaches, worked with coaches, and I actually had an angel card reading, and the angels seem to think that I'm right on track with what I'm supposed to be doing. So it's like, okay, everything's pointing me in this direction. And I had an energy reading as well, and it was the same thing. Like
Awesome.
apparently spirit said that I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. So there you
Yeah,
go.
I mean, you can't go wrong when you're following that divine internal guidance, right? Like that inspiration that you can just feel, you know?
So and now I'm thinking as we're having this conversation, some people are thinking we're insane, probably. I don't know. Because
It's funny. So I have three special needs kids, right? And also I'm a singer-songwriter, and I've gotten some stuff released last year, and I have my album coming up, and I'm a podcast host, and I've been doing this for like a year and a half, and I'm a self-care coach for burnt out moms. And it's like, for so long, I thought that it was impossible I was like, I have three special needs kids. This is my life now. I don't get anything else. And nothing, and that felt like that was what the world was telling me, was like, there's your lot in life. It's been set. Whatever else you thought you wanted, goodbye to that. Because I could see, I knew people who had adults that were disabled. Sorry, I knew people who had adult children who were disabled, and I could see them, and their entire lives were caring for their adult disabled children. Like
Mhm.
there was nothing else. It was just that, and I saw it, and I was like, I just don't want that to be my life, but I don't know how. And that didn't mean that I don't want to, I have a severely autistic nonverbal diabetic, well, semi-verbal diabetic 11-year-old right now, and he'll be with me for the rest of his life. Like he's not going to be out living on his own. He's going to be mine. And so I don't mean that in a way of like, oh, I mean, if it's, this is absolutely nothing to say against people who end up putting their child in a facility. And I don't know the path that we will end up taking, and perhaps that will be in our path, but right now it seems, unfathomable, right? He's only 11. So I plan on having him for the rest of my life, but how do I also be me in that
Yeah.
process? How do I not give up myself for that? Because it's essential, because you can't like really
Mhm.
care for other people until you're caring for yourself, and that includes going for your dreams and passions. So just in what you were saying of like, it seems like the world tells us like we're not supposed to, like, that's how I felt for so long. And to break out of that mold and be like, actually I could do both. Actually I can do my thing too, and I'm also worthy of that.
Exactly. Like getting in touch with yourself and what you feel you need and what you want. But when you play the outer game, you don't do that, right? You do what you should do, what you're supposed to do. And so, maybe that other couple you're talking about has a lot of pride and joy in raising that child, and that's what they're choosing to do, and they feel fulfilled. They don't feel like something's missing. And that's great, and that's them. And each of us is an individual, so we need to figure out what works for us and not feel bad about how we feel, right? If something's missing, if
Yes.
you've got some other kind of calling, like, then pursue those things and don't feel bad about it. But like what you're talking about is really good balance, right? The self-care, the balance. You're going to spend some time doing this thing that's important to you, this thing that's important. Of course, you've got responsibilities, and you're not going to blow up your life because of that, right? Because, that wouldn't be good. And so what you've chosen to do is pursue some of those things that really warm your heart as well, which give you energy to serve others as well, your children and other people. So
That's
well, that's
exactly
what we have to
right.
do, is like what lights us up, right? What
Yes. Yes, that's what I was talking about today. It was like nourishing your soul and what brings you energy. And you
yeah,
have to like give yourself some of that so that you can then do the other things that drain your energy, right? Like
yeah,
you've got to balance out the toilet cleaning, right? And the scrubbing with doing something that lights your soul on fire.
yeah.
Probably most of us scrubbing is not going to be it.
No, but it's essential.
Yeah. And so like you got to balance that out and like
Yeah.
choose to do also things that
But
light
then
your
also,
soul.
like, what do you tell yourself about the toilet scrubbing or whatever it is, right? If you
Yeah.
mope about it and you create negative energies around it, like, you're not doing yourself any service. So you're better off to just say, I might not enjoy it, but it has to get done. And when it gets done, then I can do something that makes me happy.
Yeah,
So you
you turn
don't
on
allow it to
you
spiral down with your emotions, right? You
yeah, you turn on
stop
the
that
music.
and then work on the positive stuff to balance
Yeah.
that out. So,
Yeah, I turn on the music. We can make the things that drain us less draining by adding in things that we love, right? You blast the music while you're cleaning the toilet and you sing along, right? And then it doesn't seem like so much of a chore, right? Or you infuse your values into it. I talked to somebody, it was such an amazing thing. She took everything on her to-do list and she assigned one of her personal deep core values to it. So like doing the dishes was about, she valued having a clean home. She really
yeah.
loved how it felt to have a clean home. And
Nice.
so then when you pair it with something that you do feel really deeply, that also helps make it less draining.
Yeah. And it's also battling your brain too, right?
Oh yeah.
Your brain is lazy, doesn't want you to exert yourself, because then we might not have enough energy to run away from the bear if you
Right.
waste your energy doing these other things. So a lot of times we just talk ourselves out of things, when if we just did it without thinking about it, then it's going to be much, much easier.
Yeah, absolutely. So this has been like amazing. So as we wrap up, can you tell us how we can find you and learn about all the coaching you do and your foreplays and all that?
All right. So I guess treenachabot.com would be the best place to go. And I've got the Happy Starting Today program. So I call it a 12-week program, but I allow people to go at their own pace. And instead of having structured class times, I'm just available for them throughout the month. So they can plan with me and then report back and stuff. So I really wanted to build a sense of community, because I felt when I was going through all that stuff, I was kind of embarrassed to talk about it, because I had this perfect life, right? So if my emotions are not perfect, then I'm not perfect anymore. Uh-huh. So anyway, I don't want people to be isolated. I want to support them and let them have someone to talk to. So that's the program and the community. And then I'm also doing the talking about the 4 plays for winning at happiness. And like whatever group people have, I can do a virtual talk, or if it works out to be in person, that as well. People who have direct sales teams, like any kind of group of people, probably mostly women, that you think would benefit from hearing these messages, then I'm here to spread that word.
Awesome. That is amazing. I love it.
Thank you.
Foreplays are so impactful, and I'm just sure that there's so many people who are getting so much value from that.
I hope so. Yeah, we need to stop our suffering in the world, and we start with ourselves.
Yes, absolutely. All right. So do you have any final words of wisdom for us?
Oh, a final word of wisdom. So we're talking about seeking sunshine. And I guess maybe the word of wisdom I would say is just to allow yourself to have joy, right? To just go, and like this winter I was making snow angels. Like, why not? Right? I used to do that when
Awesome.
I was a kid. You just look up at the sky, love to look at the clouds, and just be yourself, right? You want to make snow angels, go do that. You want to do cartwheels.
Yeah.
Yeah, just get back to not worrying about what it's going to look like or what other people think about you.
I love that. That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on today. And I love how you like infused the sunshine throughout everything. Because usually I ask, like, how did you see sunshine? But you have been like putting that in here and there. And so I feel like the sunshine's really clear, like
Good.
looking internally and like changing your mindset and doing all those things. Like it's been really clear along your journey how you found sunshine and how that changed your life. So I really love that. And thank you for that.
Good. I'm glad. Thank you
Yeah,
so much for
absolutely.
having me.
You're absolutely so welcome. It was a joy to have you, and I hope you have a really amazing day.
Thank you. You too.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you so much, Treena. I loved this episode. I loved talking to Treena. I learned so much. Like, I love these takeaways, and here they are. Number one, that was my biggest epiphany in life. I am the common denominator in my problems. Bam, guys. If that does not like stab you straight in the heart, I don't know what will. I'm the common denominator in my problems. Oh my gosh. Number two, I was missing feeling that I was important no matter what. I didn't have to do all these things to be important. Number three, people make bad choices when they're mad or scared or stressed. They are making bad choices because of their limitations, because they are scared. Am I? Number four, learning isn't enough. We have to apply things, and we've got to stretch ourselves out of our comfort zones to grow as a person. Number five, there's an interesting duality that comes with growth. You have to equally know that you are incredible as you are. You're amazing just as you are right now. You're so worthy. But also, you need to grow. You need to continue that upward trajectory to learn and grow and improve. We still have so much more potential, even as we are amazing. Number 6, your life purpose is not a destination. It is a path that you are on, and it includes everything that happens to you and everything you learn and all the people that have something to teach you. And number 7, allow yourself to have joy. Be yourself. Get back to not worrying what it's going to look like or what other people think about you. Oh, I just love these. So much wisdom here. Make sure you go to Treena's website, treenachabot.com, especially check out her Happy Starting Today signature program because it is amazing. Also, check out my website, karaleigh.com. It's been recently updated. It is looking so good. Also check out, email me if you want a custom songs at karaleigh.com. I do like custom songs for newborn babies, for birthdays, for weddings, and for podcast intro songs. You might have noticed my podcast intro song is Seeking Sunshine. I also do that for other people's podcasts. If you want like a podcast theme song. Anyways, I am going to leave you with a song because that is something I love to do because singing is my favorite, but I also obviously love to talk so very much. So I hope that you are having an amazing day, and thank you again for listening. If you found something that you loved in this podcast, please share it with somebody who you think could use this. I found so much sunshine in this, and I really felt like I grew from listening to Treena. So if you feel like that's somebody that you know, somebody who could use this, who could use another boost of joy, of energy, of sunshine in their life today, please send this to them. And I think it would be such, a gift to them. Thank you so much. I will leave you with a song. Have an amazing day.